This is a classic law firm blog that makes a lot of the classic mistakes.
And they see, holy
crap. Like, this is a lot of text. Owners of
know.
small businesses who are experiencing insolvency. Google see those things as indicators of a helpful article. Next mistake is... Hey YouTube, my name is Jason. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you some good blogs and some bad blogs on a law firm's websites, and I'll be showing you exactly what to do and what not to do and how to improve your own legal blogs to ensure that you get more leads, more clients, and more revenue from the blogs that you're writing on your website. This applies to both law firms as well as general businesses. Applies to agency owners who are doing this for their clients, as well as just business owners who want to improve their own blogs and get more leads and clients from their blogs. So I'm going to go over a few different law firm blogs, show you what they've done wrong, show you how they could be improved, and also point out a few things that they've done right to ensure that you can avoid those mistakes and just do the correct things to really increase the leads coming from your blogs. So without further ado, let me just dive right in. I hate doing intros, so let's just get started. Okay, so the first law firm blog that we'll be looking at is from a law firm called Birch Grove Legal. This is a classic law firm blog that makes a lot of the classic mistakes that lawyers and law firms have in their law firm blogs, and it's a good starting point. So the first mistake is that it's actually not even related to the blog itself. It's the fact that the menu of the website isn't sticky. And what does that mean? It means that the menu doesn't stay constantly at the top of the screen, no matter how far you scroll. So once I scroll away, the menu's gone. At this point in time, you can't tell the difference between if this is a law firm blog that's trying to sell to a lead and make sure that they reach out to the firm, or whether this is a law school essay written in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. As soon as you scroll down, you don't know what you're reading. It's just like, it looks like an essay. It looks like a big block of text. And that's a mistake, because it means you're going to lose that site reader straight away. You're going to lose them because they're going to feel disengaged once they're seeing just how much text there is. And also, if they are actually interested in reaching out to you, the fact that there's no sticky menu at the top of the screen means that they're not going to know where to reach out to you. Or let me rephrase that. It's a lot harder for them. There's more friction and steps for them to actually reach out to you. And so they might as well just leave your site altogether, as opposed to reaching out to your firm, because when they can't see that menu at the top, when they can't see that contact us button, or when they can't see the phone number button at the top of the screen when they're scrolling through the page, they might just click out. That's a risk, right? And so with trying to capture leads and trying to convert as many site visitors into leads who reach out to your firm or your business, you want to make sure that you make the reaching out to your business as easy and as frictionless as possible. And so with a blog article, it's no different. Sorry, you want to make sure that the header or the menu, the top menu, is staying consistent, so it's always visible. And that's the case with both the blog article in desktop format as well as mobile, on the mobile screen as well. So that's the first mistake that a lot of law firms make with their blogs and just in general with their website with their website design. The second mistake is not having a table of contents. So the ultimate goal with having a blog, right, is to make sure not just to attract people to read the blog, but you actually want them to reach out to you and actually become clients. And so how do you make them reach out to you? You have to make sure that their blog reading experience is a fantastic, educational, very helpful and easy to understand experience, right? That's what Google cares about when they rank your blog article in position 1 or position 2 or on the first page. It's just how great of an experience will this website give, or will this blog article give to Google search users. And having a table of contents is a fantastic way of increasing the site visitors or the blog readers' experience when reading your blog article, right? Let me show you an example. So this one here has a table of contents. Very simple. It's just a few dot points of all the subheadings and the headings in the article. The benefit of this is, firstly, it allows the site visitor or the blog article to know exactly what they're going to get, what kind of information they're going to get when they land on your page. So as soon as they land on your page, they'll be able to see, oh, great, there's going to be a simple explanation of the goods and services tax, GST. There's also going to be a quick answer to whether GST and strata levies even matter. And then there's going to be an answer to, is GST payable or not? And then lastly, I'm going to find out a little bit more about who will be collecting GST on strata levies, right? So they don't have to scroll through the whole page and read the whole page to understand what they're going to be getting, because everyone's time is valuable, right? And everyone's attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and so you want to make sure that you tell them immediately what they're going to get to keep them scrolling and to keep them on your page. Because if you don't have a table of contents and the person lands on this page and they see, holy crap, like this is a lot of text. I don't know what I'll be getting if I keep scrolling. Is my time worth it if I keep scrolling, or should I just find the answer on another web page? You've lost them there, right? So you want to make sure that there's a table of contents to really make it as easy for the person to understand what they'll be getting, what information they'll be getting if they stay in your website. And the other great thing about the table of contents is it increases the user experience. So when there's a table of contents, the person can click on the link on any one of these links straight away and go straight to the answer that they're looking for, right? They don't have to scroll. They don't have to read. No one wants to read. No one wants to spend more time than necessary to get what they want. And so when they land on this article that's titled, "Is there GST on strata levies?" they expect to get the answer straight away. They don't need to read. They don't want to read for 5 minutes scrolling, trying to look at the subheadings, trying to read different parts of each paragraph to get the answer. They just want the answer straight away. And the best way to do that is to give them the answer straight away. How do you do that? Partly by having a table of contents that links straight to a paragraph that gives the answer to them. So they landed on this page about wanting to find out if GST is payable on strata levies. They could go straight to that section and get the answer. And that increases their satisfaction of reading your blog. That gives them the positive reinforcement that clicking on your blog article was a good decision, and overall that PBL Law Group is a good law firm who understands my issues and can answer them straight away. That's the impression you're giving them when you're giving them a good blog article that answers the question in a really quick and succinct manner. That's the second, I guess, tip really, is to make sure that you have a table of contents. The third tip is to make sure that your title of your blog article is easy to read and gives a good overview of what that site reader or that blog reader will get if they click on your article from Google and if they keep scrolling through your page. Let me show you a bad example. This one is a bad example. So this one's from a law firm called Taylor Rose, and the article is called Parole Vic. So firstly, if the site visitor is scrolling through your blog page or Google and they see a title called Parole/Vic, they don't know what this article is really about. I'm a lawyer myself, so I can understand what this article would be about because I've read a lot of law firm blogs. It's probably about like a guide on what parole is and how parole works in the state of Victoria in Australia. I can extrapolate that because I'm trained in law. But for people who are trying to find out what parole is, they're not going to understand this title. They're not going to understand this title. So they're not going to even click on your blog page because they don't know what they're going to get. You want to make sure that the title is very clear as to what they're going to get. So I would rename this to, just look at the address bar. I'll rename this to Comprehensive Guide, How Parole Works in Victoria. I'll name it to that. So it's simple as to what the site visitor is going to get. They're going to get a comprehensive guide on how parole works in the state of Victoria. And what this guide means is probably going to cover a lot of the basics and a few more important details that someone who don't know about parole should find out about, right? So that's what they're going to get. And not only that, you want to make sure that the title speaks to the intended user. So in this case, I'm assuming the intended user is someone who's not educated in parole, but wants to find out more about parole in case their family member is in a situation where they need to get parole, or if they're just being rejected parole but they don't know what it means, right? So in this article, you're trying to target uneducated people in a polite way, the uneducated layperson, so you can give them some information that will help them, and then by doing that, they'll think you're a helpful lawyer and a helpful law firm, and then they'll get in touch with you to hire you, right? So that's the purpose of a blog. Especially if you're a law firm who's trying to get clients from the blog, right? And so you want to make sure that everything, including the title, is geared towards making sure that your ideal audience understands what they're going to get. They're going to understand what this blog is about. And this is a great example of a very bad blog title. I just also want to make clear as well that this video is not a criticism on the law firms themselves, personally, the authors, or anything like that, or even the accuracy, the factual accuracy or the helpfulness of the blog content. This video is simply to provide some example of some mistakes that you are probably making with your law firm blog, as well as some tips on how to avoid those mistakes and some best practices to make sure that your blog is working its best to turn your site visitors into engaged leads and ultimately clients. So with the title here, this is another example of a not so great title for a law firm blog. This title here reads too technical. Right? It's too technical. Yes, it's descriptive of what this blog is about in the sense that I'm assuming this blog will be about the temporary amendments to the Corporations Act 2001 and the ATO relief. I'm assuming that's what it is, but it doesn't give you more information about what this blog is about, if you know what I mean, right? So let's just read this blog, for example. So this blog, it seems like it's like a news it's like a news blog on some recent amendments to some insolvency and corporation laws in Australia. Specifically in relation to expected difficulties and challenges faced by businesses in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's more about ensuring that company insolvencies are handled in a more forgiving manner. And I'm assuming if that's what the blog is about, I would change this title. Instead of saying temporary amendments to the Corporations Act 2001 and ATO relief, I would say, off the cuff, I would title this blog how this change in law will prevent your small business insolvency during COVID. I'll title it something like that. Again, this is just off the cuff, but here's why I would title it this as opposed to the original title. The new title is specifically telling the user or the site visitor exactly what they're going to get. And what are they going to get? They're going to get some information on how those changes will help small businesses avoid insolvency during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so what we're targeting owners of small businesses who are experiencing insolvency or who are close to experiencing insolvency during COVID, and we're telling them how some of these new changes in law will help them in their situation, right? And by doing that, we're talking straight to the people who we want to engage as clients, right? Small business owners. And not only that, we're giving them information that'll be helpful to them to help them understand how they could help themselves. And in that case, they would then think that Birch Grove Legal or whoever wrote this blog is helpful and knows their stuff. And that would motivate them to reach out to this law firm to help with their insolvency needs during COVID, as opposed to the original title, which is very technical, doesn't talk to the person, doesn't speak to the ideal site or blog reader that this blog is trying to target. Do you see the difference? Again, the title is really important. The title not only makes sure that someone clicks on your blog article from Google or from your insights library, which is your blog archive, but it also convinces the person to keep scrolling through your page. So you're not wasting your time writing blogs that no one reads. You want to make sure that people read your blog that you're writing about. And the best way to do that is make sure that the title convinces them to do that. And so I've given you a few examples on how titles can be written to ensure that people land on your page, but also actually want to keep reading and will then just reach out to your firm. So that's the third tip. The fourth tip is making sure, I want to show this one. Where is it? It is here. So this law firm is making a tragic mistake of formatting. So I'm at 100% zoom right now. So this is how the website's supposed to look, but the text is so small and there's no distinguishing between different paragraphs or different sections of the article. When you scroll, it just looks like one massive block of text. And even then the text is hard to read because it's so small. And the color of the text is like a gray color. So there's not much contrast. So you really firstly got to squint to read what they're saying. And not only that, when someone lands on this page and they see just how dense this top part is, even without scrolling, they're not gonna want to read the rest of the article because they're like, holy crap, that's too much work for me to read just to understand this one topic that I was trying to get an answer for, right? That compared to this one here. So this is an exemplary example of a very good law firm blog. So this is from a firm called Roberts, Crosby, Mortensen Lawyers. Whoever did this blog design knows their stuff because firstly, you'll be able to see that the titles, each of the subheadings is in another color. So it makes it very clear visually to the site and blog reader what sections of the article relates to what. As you scroll down, it's just easier to read because the words are bigger as well. The words are bigger compared to this one. Look how small these words are, right? Not only that, we also got the color title to make sure that it's easier for the person to see what section they want to read. So when you scroll down, they could just skim parts of the blog in case it's not relevant to them. And by skimming, I mean just essentially glancing at the title, each of the subheadings, and seeing whether it's relevant to them, right? And not only that, they also have, and this is the next tip, right? So the previous tip is to make sure that the formatting is easy to read, big words, colored subheadings, preferably. High contrast text to make sure that it's easy to read, and a lot of spacing. See that? There's a lot of spacing here. There's so much space between each of the lines, so it really makes it easy for the person to read. Because this one here, you can see it's like the spacing is so small, and like I'm struggling to read it. And when I'm reading, when my eyes are reading this sentence, for example, and then in my peripherals, I'll be able to see, oh shit, there's all this text I got to read too. I'm like not motivated to keep scrolling, and so hopefully this law firm here, Watson and Watson, watches this video and improves their blog a little bit. Hopefully, again, none of these law firms I'm showing you are my clients, so except for one of them. Yes, you can guess which one. The next mistake is I want to show you. The next mistake is not having a more bolder call to action element on the blog page. So this is a great example of an article that doesn't have this. So it's making this mistake. When you scroll, it's just a whole bunch of white on the left and right, and then some text in the middle, right? And then only once you scroll to the very bottom, then you can see this tiny little word called Contact Taylor Rose, and that's a link to another Contact Us page. And as you scroll further down, then no one's really going to scroll further down because they've finished reading the article. But again, when you think about the purpose of a blog article, it's supposed to help the person get as much information as they can. But not only that, you want to make sure that they actually reach out to you as a lead, right, as a potential client. And very similar to the mistake that this law firm made with not having a top menu that constantly stays on the top of the page as you scroll down, they're not having another bolder call to action in any of this white space here at all. This one from Roberts, Crosby, Mortensen Lawyers is a great example of making use of space that would otherwise have been unused. And what they've done is essentially they've gotten two call to actions. One is speak to a lawyer. So it's really clear. As soon as someone reads this article and they want to talk to a lawyer, they know exactly where to click. They don't have to scroll and try to find a little word or a little link at the bottom of the page. They know exactly where it is. It's a big yellow button. Or they could call the law firm straight away by click on this link on their phone, and they'll just bring up the law firm phone number. Or they could just click on that and open up a dial on their website or something like that. And so this is a great example of making use of space that would otherwise be unused to make sure that that space is utilized to increase or to reduce the friction involved in having a site visitor who wants to reach out to you to actually reach out to you. So let me find that there's another one. So this is another good example of having a call to action in the middle of the page. When they're scrolling, you'll see here on the right-hand side that they have a send an inquiry button right next to the blog. And so if someone's reading this blog and they want to reach out to someone, they can either click on the contact us or the phone number on the top of the menu, or they could send an inquiry straight away using this form. Right, so this is another good example of making use of space on the blog page to ensure that you're increasing the number of conversions from site visitors and blog readers into engaged leads and clients. Birchgrove Legal made this same mistake. They've not included any call to actions on the page at all, except for this tiny word here that says please contact us to discuss. But even then, they've made a worse mistake compared to Taylor Rhodes because this contact us text is not even linked. So you don't really know how to contact, or it's harder for the site visitor to contact them unless they keep scrolling down to the very bottom of the page. So that's another mistake that I want you to avoid when you're designing your law firm blog or your own business's blogs. Now let's have a look at some of the better blogs and see what they've done or what they've implemented to further increase their blog readers' ease of understanding and user experience, and ultimately lead to them wanting to convert into engaged leads for the firm. So looking at Robert Crosby Morrison's lawyer's blog again, we'll be able to see, putting aside the elements that I've already discussed, they've included a section here on the author of this law firm blog. And this author section is not, again, it's not tucked away at the bottom of the page for the person to find in case they scroll down that far. It's right there, very prominent. So the site visitor who's reading this blog or who just landed on this blog, they'll know exactly, they'll see this face immediately. And so they'll know exactly, oh, Krista, she's the lawyer who wrote this. So even if the person doesn't scroll all the way down, they at least know Krista's name. And so that's increasing the likelihood of the person seeing Krista as an expert in this area of law and hence wanting to call Krista for a consultation as a lead. So that's a good example. You'll find that a lot of these law firm blogs, they don't do that. Or at most, it's at the very bottom of the page, which again is very unlikely for the person to scroll all the way down and read all the blog. You want to make sure that the author's information is clear and visible to the site visitor as quickly as possible without obviously without making it annoying. Doing it in a tasteful way. You want to make sure it's done in a tasteful way. And Robert Crosby Morrison has done it in a tasteful way. The other great thing is they've actually kept these two elements constant throughout the whole blog page as you scroll down. So they don't disappear when you scroll further down. They're always there. That's another great way of ensuring that you're converting as many site visitors and blog readers into leads. Because by having these two buttons constant, it's very, 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 very unlikely for the site visitor or the blog reader to not know where to click next if they want to reach out to you, right? As opposed to, again, the Taylor Rose article. They don't know where to click. They have to scroll further up or down. They'll probably just click away and find another law firm that's easier to tell them where to click, right? This one, Coleman Grieg Lawyers, they would probably get some more conversions if they kept this send an inquiry form constant on the side of the page as well. So as you scroll down, that form will always be there. I would suggest to that firm to do that if they like. The other thing that this firm does that you can do, this is actually not really related to your blog anymore, but your website design in general, is actually have a chat button. I mean, depending on the practice areas that your firm practices or offers, a chat button may not be necessary or it may not be appropriate, right? But for example, criminal law or more B2C type of practice areas, I would actually include a chat button here. Again, there's a lot of different chat widgets and chat service providers, so you got to choose the right one. But having one there does increase the amount of leads that you get from your website as well. So I'll include one of those. And you can make it look professional. You don't have to make it look really cartoony or look like a game or anything like that. So, yeah. And one other thing that you should be doing for your law firm blogs and blogs in general is actually including lists, tables, and infographics. So in this case, for this law firm, they've included an infographic that really summarizes and gives information away in a visual format. So the person doesn't have to read as much anymore. They could just look at this table or this little flow chart and get the answer they need immediately without having to read more information than necessary, right? And so Google, when they see that your blog page has an infographic, has a list, has a table, all these things that makes the user experience, the reader's experience as easy and as effortless as possible, Google see those things as indicators of a helpful article, of an article that would give a good experience to the search users. And so you would want to include those as much as possible. You don't have to include multiple infographics or multiple tables or lists, but at least including some of those would definitely put you ahead of a lot of most other blog articles. And so having those elements will certainly put your blog article ahead of a lot of other competitors. And you can do research, and I've shown in my previous videos on how you can find blog articles from your competitors which do have these tables and lists and infographics, and which ones don't. So it helps you really understand what elements you should include. So again, you should watch that previous video on how to do that. I think it was one of the videos, I can't remember. So yeah, and the other great thing about having an infographic in your blog article is it actually appears in Google Images. And so there's more opportunity for people to visit your blog's website because in Google Images, your infographic will appear at the top of the page if it's a relevant graphic. I know for a fact that this infographic does appear at the top of the page for Google Images, and so that's another avenue for site visitors to come from Google. The other great thing about infographics specifically is it's a linkable asset. So it's something that's super easy for someone to share with their friends or with their family, with people relevant to the situation that they're in. And if you have an infographic that has your branding at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of the infographic, it's another way to get your name out there and to get more people to visit your site, to know your firm's name. So that is that's another tip. And one last tip I want to include in this video as well is not just looking at the blog page itself, but the actual blog archive, or in my words, the Insights library. So this is the section which includes or shows all of the blogs on your website. This page here from Rose Legal Costing is a good example of what not to do with your legal insights or your Insights library page. There's no way to find articles or topics that are relevant to your specific needs or your questions. Right? It's just one list of articles. You've got to keep scrolling to eventually find the topic that's related to your issue, if they have any at all, right? And so what I would do is I would include, if I go to the one from Roberts Crosby Mortensen, I would include a filter at the very least of different topics or different industries or different practice areas. And then the site visitor can filter straight down to the area of law that's relevant to them, right? So if they care about building construction, then they could filter to building construction. If they care about workplace law, they could straight filter down to workplace law. So you want to make sure you do that. There's multiple ways of doing that. You could either have a filter, drop down filter, or you could have something like what Taylor Rose has done, which is just a list at the side of the page, and then scroll down. You can click on each of these topics, and then it would appear dynamically. The next tip in relation to your Insights library or your blog archive page is make sure that you include multiple columns, at least 2 columns of blogs as you scroll down. So the site visitor will more easily be able to skim which type of article they want to click into, which article answers the question that they're trying to answer, as opposed to this one, for example, where it's just one column, and so you've got to scroll a lot more. It's bad use of space, not very good experience, because again, the site visitor has to spend more time to try to find information that they're looking for on your website. And then one last tip I would say in relation to the website navigation is, for this one, this is a mistake to avoid as well. When you have a button for Insights and then you have blogs and publications, it's not clear as to which button the person should click. Blogs and publications, they kind of mean the same thing, right? Blogs are being published on your website. Publications are articles that are being published, right? So for Coleman Greig lawyers, I would suggest to them to just simplify these 2 pages into one if you can. Again, I don't actually know what publications is, what page it shows. So let's just have a look. Okay, it's actually the same page. So that's not very good, actually. So you want to just simplify that, make it one link called blogs, or make it one link called Insights. And even better, or if you have all these ebooks, plain English guides, put them all into one page and call it Insights, and click on Insights there. So that's another tip I would do. Hopefully, this type of video is more of a speak my thoughts type of video. Apologies if it's not as scripted as my other videos, although my other videos aren't that scripted either. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Either you're a law firm or you're a lawyer wanting to make sure that your blogs are really working and getting as many leads as you can, and making sure that you're not wasting your time writing blogs that no one's reading. But also, if you're an agency who's doing this for your clients, this is another great way for you to provide more value for your clients. Auditing their blog templates, auditing their blog archive page, and really implementing the design elements and best practices that I've included to make sure that your clients get better results from their blogs. And if you're a business owner in general, that's not a lawyer, again, these tips apply to you as much as they do for law firms and agency owners. So yeah, if you have any further questions, just leave them down in the comments. If you're a lawyer or a law firm who want to get more leads from your blog articles or your website or your digital presence in general, reach out to me. Book a call in the link down below. I run Conversion Legal. It's a boutique firm that does digital marketing and legal operations for law firms across Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have any other ideas for videos, just leave them down in the comments. I respond and read each one. Thank you so much, guys. See ya.